We have major updates on multiple-time Gold Glove third baseman Nolan Arenado and his chances of landing with this Boston Red Sox team. I'm going to break down all of the news and the updates on this episode of Red Sox Digest. But first, before we get to the news, remember, if you're a part of the 86.5% currently watching this video, not currently subscribed to the channel, and want to stay up to date on everything Red Sox, scroll down, click the subscribe button. We do appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down the news and really the Nolan Arenado updates. Now, we've heard this name in the past during this offseason, and the reason being is because, well, we thought we were going to add another right-handed bat. Up to this point, we have yet to do that. Obviously, we are in conversations with Alex Bergman. Nothing has really progressed there, but again, I do have some updates surrounding him, and really, could we see Alex Bergman land with this Boston Red Sox team? Again, it is a possibility. I'm not shutting the door on that. But again, I think the reason we're hearing Arenado's names be brought back up by involved with this Red Sox team is because, again, if they don't get Bergman, I believe they're going to fall back on getting Nolan Arenado. I think that is their plan. If they don't end with Bergman, they go and get Arenado. So we'll start with the small Bergman updates. It's coming from Chandler Rome. And again, it started with this tweet where he goes on the highlight saying, during his address at the team's annual media luncheon, Dana Brown twice spoke about Bregman in the past tense, saying once that the team, quote, lost Bregman, end of quote. And then he went on to clarify, saying, asked to clarify, Dana Brown said, quote, we're continuing to have internal conversations because he's still available, end of quote. Brown said he hasn't spoken to Scott Boras recently. Asked if Jim Crane had, Brown replied, I don't know. Jim has not told me. I'm sure Jim would have told me, end of quote. So again, seems like the Astros, despite that offer that they gave Bregman early this offseason, possibly still being on the table, which was definitely the most amount of years, it seems like the most money offered to Bregman out of all the teams involved in the sweepstakes and saga, whatever you'd like to address it as. Despite that, the talks have stalled out, and again, it doesn't seem like anyone surrounding the Houston Astros organization, internally or externally, is very excited or optimistic about the ability of Alex Bergman returning to the organization. So that really does open the door for the Red Sox, in my opinion. I believe it'll be a three-team race from this point going forward between the Sox, the Cubs, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, obviously, there could be a bunch of other suitors out there. Obviously, the Yankees are one of those teams, but again, they have not been involved in the Alex Bregman sweepstakes up to this point, at least reportedly. And again, that is interesting, as well as other teams who could go out and make a big splash. But again, I'm going to leave it to those three teams. And actually, no, I'm going to add the Tigers in there. I can't believe I left out the Tigers. Cubs, Tigers, Sox, and then Blue Jays as an outlier right on the outskirts. But again, Sox should be very much involved in this, and if they do fail to go out and get Bregman, whether it's because of their stinginess on what they're offering him via the contract, whether it be the average annual value per year, or if it's the amount of years outright, because again, we know Bregman is looking for a 5-6 year contract deal, as again, it seems like the Sox are not coming above the 4-year mark. So again, that could be a significant reason why Bregman does not land in a Red Sox uniform, and why we could end up seeing Nolan Arenado with the Red Sox instead. So shout out to John Morrissey for tweeting this yesterday on February 4th, as he goes on to say the Red Sox and the Cardinals have had recent communication about Nolan Arenado, sources says. It goes on to say, if the trade talks move forward, they could have implications for Alex Bregman's market. Of note, Cardinals exec Chaim Bloom has close knowledge of Boston's prospects. Now, let's not get out of hand here, okay? We already moved 4 prospects this offseason, and we're still ranked the #1 farm system in baseball. Just throwing that out there. Yes, we are doing something right. Don't jump the gun yet. But again, you must be out of your mind if you think you're getting a haul like the White Sox got for Crochet or anything relatively close to it, okay? Some of these guys and most of these guys are untouchable, I would hope. These guys are too young, too promising, and again, the #1 farm system in baseball means something. We're going to be able to use these pieces later down the line. There's a chance we get to use Christian Campbell this season, which I'm so excited for. I think the kid is a stud, and I really, really think he's going to flourish at the MLB level at second base, where, again, the Red Sox need a little bit of help. Obviously, we do have a lot of competition going on the MLB roster right now, on that 40-man roster. But again, if things play out where it's not going too well, I would not be surprised if we saw a very, very early call-up for the young rookie or the young prospect in Christian Campbell. Now, MLB Network did have a conversation this morning on this possible idea of the Red Sox going out and acquiring Nolan Arenado, where they did say it's really something to dream on if you're a Boston Red Sox fan. And they were very optimistic about this move. They thought it would be a very good move for the Red Sox, but they did bring up some of the implications. If we did go out, we would have to make a trade to get Nolan. That's one. Two, we would also, what would we do? Nolan Arenado is a multiple time, and when I say multiple time, I mean basically he's won it every year he's been active, Gold Glove at third base. The dude is, he's a vacuum. He's one of the greatest defensive third basemen I've been able to watch with my own two eyes in the years I've been alive watching baseball. And again, obviously there are other guys who do have a very good glove, but Nolan Arenado is in a class of a very, very small amount of players. And again, obviously the power did regress last year. That is no surprise. But again, Nolan is getting older, but please acknowledge he is a right-handed bat. He'd be playing in Fenway, and please look at his spray chart. And this is not in Fenway. This is just his overall spray chart from last year. He is a massive pull hitter. He loves going down that left field line. I could really see Nolan Arenado really do well in this park. I think he could really flourish in this park, and again, use that big green monster, really do well and fit in well. Obviously, if we did acquire Nolan and he was another right-handed bat, that would be something. But what do we do? And this is what the implications I was starting to refer to on what these guys were talking about on MLB Network. So, Nolan playing third. That's great. Our defense is greatly improved at third base because we know Rafael Devers is not the greatest defensive third baseman. Could we move Devers to DH? Yes, absolutely. But then what do we do with Yoshida? I just saw a video on Twitter, social media, of Yoshida making his first swings in a while following his shoulder surgery. So that is interesting. What level are we going to get from Yoshida? Obviously, I'm not assuming that he'll play any much more than he did last season in the outfield due to the shoulder injuries obviously he's coming off of. I don't know how much they're going to really want to use him in the outfield with the amount of talent we already have in the outfield. Again, a lot of moving parts. Casas playing first base. Does Devers go to DH? Casas remain at first. Arenado goes and remains at third base for this Red Sox team. Again, odd man out would be Yoshida. What do we do? Very interesting conversation. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. I'm not going to jump the gun here and start to break down the possible scenarios because there's a million of them. I'm going to wait and see day by day. And again, we'll bring you updates on this channel to see what happens and when it does happen between... Oh, what are we doing here? Okay, we're looking at Nolan Arenado updates. Again, sorry about that, but again, the idea is still the same. Are we going to see Nolan Arenado in a Boston Red Sox jersey? If that does happen, what else takes place? Again, we do have to make a trade in order to go get him. What would that trade possibly look like for this Red Sox team? It's going to be very interesting. Can't wait to see how it all plays out. You'll hear from me on this episode, or on this channel of Red Sox Digest when anything does happen. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.